Welcome to episode 10 of the Mind Room podcast show, where real people have real conversation about the struggles we usually hide. I am your host, Dr. David Rex Orgen. Today, we're going to dive into a theme that is titled Depression and Emotional Fatigue. Finding paths to emotional restoration. Around the world, millions of people carry invisible emotional burdens while continue to fulfill their responsibilities as leaders, parents, professionals, entrepreneurs, and even caregivers. They may appear successful on the outside, yet silently battle exhaustion, discouragement, and emotional fatigue within. But today, we will explore what emotional restoration truly looks like and why so many people struggle in silence, and how hope and healing are really possible. I am extremely grateful and honored to welcome our distinguished guest in the person of ML Brookshire. ML is an accomplished executive communication and AI strategy leader with more than 2 decades of experience shaping executive messaging, global brands, and organization transformation for international recognized companies, including GE, Samsung, and Hewlett Packard Enterprise. Her remarkable journey from homelessness in executive leadership was featured in Ebony magazine. And today, she continues to inspire audiences around the world. Beyond her professional achievement, ML is a servant leader, multilingual communicator, pianist, and active community advocate who believes that true success is measured not only by what we accomplish. I am so excited to have ML here. ML, it is a truly honor to have you with us on the Mind Room podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good. How are you feeling today?
I'm wonderful. I am blessed. Remember, I am blessed.
Grateful. Thank you so much that you are blessed, and I'm also blessed to be here. Thank you a lot. Now we're going to dive into the main subject for today. For many people, stress and emotional fatigue interchangeably. From your perspective, how are they different in a practical way, please?
Okay, so first of all, I always had something that I used as a barometer to assess different things, and I wrote it down and I even sent to you. And I said, stress changes how you feel, emotional fatigue changes how you react, and depression changes how you function. So with this in mind, it sets the framework up for ways in which people are able to deal and cope with different things that happen in their lives. So it's an important question. I think those words are often used interchangeably, but they really describe different experiences. Stress usually happens, as a response to pressure. It comes from the external demands, work. It could be even financial concerns, caregiving, major life changes. And emotional fatigue is different. It focuses more on, carrying the pressures for so long that you are even unable to assess what's going on with you. And then not just that you're busy, but you feel emotionally drained and unable to be able to assess or be able to decipher what's going on with you in life. Depression, rather, goes a step further. If you are sad and can still function and go out, have a good life, you're just sad. But when you're depressed, then you don't do your ADLs. Your activities of daily living are not able to be achieved. You can't take care of yourself, comb your hair, take a shower, feed yourself. Basic day-to-day tasks are no longer able to work, and that's why depression changes how you function. As long as functionality is affected and impacted, then you are depressed. You might go to find out from a clinical psychologist or even a psychiatrist that you are clinically depressed and need help, and may need to rely on antidepressants to bring up your mood so that you can feel better about yourself. So don't mix and confuse sadness, feeling down about something, feeling unmotivated and stressed out as depression, and never claim and say, people say it easily and rampantly, they say, I am depressed, but don't really understand what it truly means to be depressed when you cannot even afford to be functional in any way, shape, or form.
Thank you so very much for explaining it in simple terms for the ordinary person to understand. So I have a follow-up question on what we are talking. What are the early warning signs that someone is emotionally exhausted before they even realize something is wrong with them?
Okay. So if we're going to look at when you see something wrong with them, would it be something wrong in any of the three areas or all?
Yes, it could be any of them.
I actually tell people to think of it like this. Our bodies whisper before they scream. So emotional fatigue usually whispers first. We just don't recognize the whispers, and then before you know it, those early signs are often very ordinary. So you wake up tired even after sleeping. Little things that never used to bother you suddenly irritate you. You have a very low tolerance for things and you get angry easier and very irritable. You find yourself saying, I just don't have the energy. You start withdrawing from people that you used to be so close to and occasions and events. You stop looking forward to things that you used to enjoy before. Another sign is when health professionals sometimes call changes or changes in your daily routines as a whole, your sleep patterns, your home becomes cluttered. You start to avoid returning calls, call and hope the person doesn't pick up because you can't deal with just the emotional capacity it requires to have a day-to-day conversation. And these little things matter because they tell us something deeper than what is going on emotionally. I also encourage people to notice when they are no longer emotionally present. They are withdrawing from someone that they used to have a connection with. You're talking to your children or your spouse, but you're running on autopilot, just going through the motions, not really engaging. You're physically there, but emotionally absent. And then one of the biggest warning signs in my experience that I've noticed with even the members in my facility and anyone that I speak to or opens up to me, warning signs would always come when everything starts feeling like an obligation instead of a joy. So even the things you used to love are now feeling heavy. And you wonder how much of you has changed over this period of what you're going through. And so I tell people that don't wait for it to be a full breakdown. Don't wait for it to be manifested in a way that you can't change or reverse before you pay attention. Listen to the small signals, and as soon as you see things change in this regard, and as you wouldn't want to ignore chest pain, you wouldn't want to ignore blood sugar changes, same with mental health and emotional capacity, do not ignore warning signs like these. So I guess it's very important to know that burnout doesn't usually happen overnight. It creeps in slowly, and it also happens when you ignore the whispers for too long. Then your body starts to scream.
That's amazing. This brings in mind something I've been itching to ask. It's about your story. What would you relate to what we just talked about? The state of mind where you were from one point to another point. If you don't mind, share with us, with an audience. I'm very excited. Can't wait to hear ML's own story. Can you share with us, please?
Okay. The date was 6th of June 2006. Some people said it's resonant of the omen 666. So on the 6th of June 2006, I was in my Mercedes ML 350. I'm ML, so I was driving an ML, a wine ML in Atlanta, Georgia. I pulled up to my home with my kids aged about 6 and 4, and they had thrown everything out on the lawn of my home. My beautiful mansion, there was a big sign, foreclosure. The sheriff had warned, and I wasn't even privy to understanding what the ramifications were. I had missed only 2 payments, didn't understand modifications, how to reach out for help, just, young. And on that 6th June 2006, everything was thrown out. So I told the kids, let's pick up the little things we can keep, keepsakes, pictures, things we would need to remember our livelihood, and then leave the bigger things. And that's even very, very resonant because we left the things like furniture and all bigger things that we couldn't keep inside of the car. We packed them all. I didn't know who to call, where to turn. At that time, there was no WhatsApp, but I was calling people. When I start to tell the story, some hang up. Some pretend they can't hear me well. We're not really trying to understand what exactly could happen for a young lady like me, who they believed was so wealthy to be able to lose a whole house. And at that time, I had amassed $1.2 million in assets because I had the primary residence in Douglasville, close to $500,000. Then I had also 4 different properties for real estate. People were living in them, haphazardly just, going in and out, some messing up the home, some not paying the rent. So I was paying, sometimes I was paying as much as 3 different mortgages at a time. So when I stopped working at GE and I lost the main house, back to back, the other 4 houses followed suit. So we were sleeping in the car, sometimes at Walmart in the parking area, sometimes at different places. Me and the kids would sleep. We get up and I'd go to the gym membership area. We take a quick shower here or there, wipe up, wash up, with Walmart wipes. And then my daughter was like, Mommy, how long are we going to be doing this for? So she remembers so much of that time frame, and she's very tough and strong and hard on me because she feels I put her through a lot. But it all saved her to becoming who she is today. So one day we were on the highway and the police stopped me saying I had a broken tail light. They asked for my license and registration. I gave the license and registration and I said, okay, what's going on? I have a clean slate. They came back and they said, Miss Brookshire, unfortunately, Mercedes-Benz of Buckhead in Georgia won their vehicle. You owe a couple of months on the payment and they need their car back. So they repossessed the car, which was where we were sleeping, right in front of me. I said, let me keep my license plate. It said ML for ML. Let me keep my license plate. That's all I have left. So they took this wine Mercedes. I think at that time it was close to brand new, and yet it was never really mine, right? This is America. They took the car away from me and they walked us to the nearest shelter in Fulton County. And they said, if you have more than 3 children, you can get access to a bed. Those with under 3 children had to wait until bedding and accommodation became available. So they put us on the floor, gave us 1 blanket, which was left, and then they said I should cover the 3 of us with a blanket. So my daughter and I covered my son, who was younger, and we would spend most nights talking, just chit-chatting, because we didn't want to really sleep on the floor, but just feel like, we're going through the motions of waking up, getting through the benefits of welfare, going to do your SNAP benefits, EBT. How much are they going to give for food? How much are they going to give for cash? How much am I going to get for this? So one day my daughter said, Mommy, Grandma is richer than us. Let's call Grandma. So I said, okay, let me borrow from the security guard. I borrowed $5 for a CTA Africa card. Those times we used to use calling cards, and CTA Africa was the best for your money. $5, I think you got 35 minutes to call Ghana. So I said, I'll pay you back with cash assistance or my food stamps. So the security officer agreed. And Officer Raymond gave me the $5 and I got the card. I went to the payphone, punched in the card numbers, and I said, Mommy, I have to tell you something. She said, what's going on? I said, I've lost everything. She said, what do you mean? I just came to your housewarming. I said, no, even though you came to the housewarming, the house is not really yours like that. It's just that you pay the mortgage to own the home over like about 30 years. You understand what it's like? She said, but what about the other houses? Move into one of the other properties. I said, those ones, they were not paying the rent and all, and I couldn't pay it when I lost my job at GE to go into business, and now I don't have anything. And they banged the gavel, $1.2 million with bankruptcy, and they said zero to my name. She said, your ex-husband was always kind. Find him wherever he is in Atlanta, move in with the children, and I will come for them. And once I pick those children from you, wherever you find yourself, you'll make it again. Just hold on and hang tight till you find that I've arrived in the country. So I began to call my sisters-in-laws in Louisiana. I had all their numbers memorized. I said, where's Alvin? Alvin Ray Brookshire, where can I find him? And I found my ex-husband in East Point in an apartment. And that's where I had to sit with my hand like this and listen to him preach to me about how material things are not worth it. About how I've come for the American dream only to lose it all. And what was the purpose? Love, emotions, relationships, they seem to be more stronger than what material things are. And I was silently paying attention because with what I would not listen to before in our marriage, I was listening to, and it was poignant at that point. So I was there in the house with the apartment with him, and my mom was worried because she was delaying to get a ticket. So she sent an aunt from New York. Her name is Auntie Bunch. Auntie Bunch said, ML, do you remember when I came to that apartment? You were so depressed. You had turned your wig. I said, Doc, I had turned my wig inside out, back to front. I didn't know. I was not looking in the mirror. I just wake up and feed the children and then go back to bed. Every day is a day of sleeping or staying in bed, thinking. My mind was racing. What am I going to do? How am I going to get this money back? How am I going to get a car? How am I going to get a job? How am I going to, and where do you do and start all these things from? So my aunt came, we flipped a coin, and she said, you're going with me to New York. And I said, no, Auntie Bunch, no. I want to go to California. Maybe I can be an actress. She said, hey, ML, even in your depression, you want to be an actress? I said, no, maybe I can do something in California, but not New York. I don't want the New York subway. So she said, we flipped the coin. If it's tails, we're going to California. If it's heads, like the Statue of Liberty head, we're going to go to New York. When we flipped it was New York. She said, you're coming with me. So she took me and the kids, and my mom truly came for the children, and I was in New York. Now, with the New York story, it's very interesting because the breakdown was it was very, like how I said about the signs, warning signs. You don't feel like eating as much. You don't feel like going to sleep. Sometimes you stay all night, your mind is racing. Or then when you finally do get to bed in the morning, you stay in bed all day, all night, can't do anything. So it is in New York that I had a full-blown nervous breakdown. And then they diagnosed me with post-traumatic stress disorder, all labels bipolar, this. And then the funny thing is, I had never heard the word bipolar until my graduation of my May 2005 graduation from my master's program. And the person who was speaking was Ted Turner. And Ted Turner is a billionaire, or was a billionaire because he's passed on now. I have a picture with him. So when Ted Turner said he was bipolar and he went on a manic episode and he came up with the idea of CNN and he became a billionaire, I thought bipolar was a great thing, a great state of mind to be in for billionaires. So when they told me in the hospital that I was bipolar, I said, really? Wow. They always said I was intelligent. So it means that my intelligence has gone pro max. And now I'm bipolar. So my mother came, and then my mother saw one guy cleaning the hospital, and then the guy said, Mami, pachomi de mi again in in that language. Obano on yare odidi pa odidi. I had no man no edrona. Obey yare for the medicine will make her sick. So take her to Ghana and give her soup. Ghana, just take her, but don't let her stay here and take any of the medications because once you start, you must continue. So my mother, with this advice from Che, a cleaner, decided to boycott and disregard all medical hospital instructions. She told the hospital doctor that the bipolar is not in our family. She's from she's even from a royal family. She added that part, royal. She said, in my family, we don't have this kind of thing going on. So give my child to me. I'm the mother. You release them to parents and family and loved ones. So mother took me to Ghana and threw away my lithium and all my medications, thinking that Che has said, I need soup, just a lot of relaxation and chilling and enjoyment, and I'll be well. So that is why the depression got worse in Ghana, because there was no medication anymore in my system. And I had to just go day to day of remembering everything I had lost in America. And I've returned to Ghana where it all started. So we now said, let's go to prayer camps. From ICGC to this prayer camp to that prayer camp, we got to Manfe. I'll not even mention the pastor's name. Even in my depression, I was doing praise and worship, telling my story of how I was rich before I became poor. People found it interesting. After all, this is a couple of Mrs. daughter. So in TBA, what a very funny story, rich to poor.
Mhm.
So the pastor called me one day at dawn. I was there with my one of my closest friends, Kosi, and said he's had a revelation, and I'll be his second wife. Can you imagine? So
Wow.
upon the second wife notion, because he said, we have to go. She called my mother. My mother said, enough of I'd gone to, I think, 6 prayer camps to pray away depression that was not working. She said, no more prayer camps for my daughter. What do you want to do? I said, Mommy, I have a friend, Sasha. I can get a ticket. I'll go back to America. I have something to finish in America. I can't be here. So she was saying, no, the children are here. They need you. I said, just give me the opportunity. So I went to the one-way ticket, connection ticket as usual. They got, if you get to Heathrow, they find out. I think they send you back, all kinds of drama and stress. Can you imagine? I got to Heathrow. They finally boarded me. I got to America, JFK. And because I'd been in a shelter before, on the JFK train, I said, let me not go and disturb my auntie or people who know me. Let me just go and check into another shelter in Jamaica, Queens. So I went there. I said, I'm a woman with children, but my children are in Africa. These are my details. I gave them all my information. I'm just here temporarily to get on my feet. The American people were laughing. They were like, he doesn't know how when you come here, you can end up here for a long period. I saw the African people, the Muslims and the other people would wake up like 4 a.m. in the morning. They start with their prayers. They said, let me just join them. Some were smoking crack, cocaine, heroin, and all. I said, no, let me stick with these Africans who are very religious. That will help me, serve me well. I started praying with them in the morning, whether I understood or not. I was praying the Somalians, those from other countries, and then we would wake up in the morning, we go to the library, we read, and then we try to do our resumes. So in the library, I read, I think, about 47 books in 2 weeks. And the 47 books were all self-help books. I read about The Giant Within. That was the Giant Within. I think that was Tony Robbins. Then Joe Vitale about miracles and hope. Yeah. Then I read Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul. Every single one, I tried to find my hands on them. Then I read, just every single thought leader I could find. I'd read about them and I'd be doing my resume. But I had no money for a cell phone, so the pay phone of the shelter was the number I put on my resume. So one day I was waking up to go to the library again with the African girls, and this lady said, who the hell is ML Brookshire? Who is this B? Always getting all these phone calls on this payphone. I said, people are calling for me? She said, yes. The phone keeps ringing for ML Brookshire. I said, really? Then it means that they've seen my resume and they're trying to find me to give me an interview. So one day I sit in the dormitory. I didn't go to the library. The very first phone call that came on that payphone was Wall Street. They had read about me, seen my resume, and there was a top marketing consultant position at Bear Stearns. They wanted to interview me for the role. At that time, I hadn't lost weight till doc. I was still size 18, 20 plus. So when I used to go to Goodwill to look for a suit, I couldn't get my size. I'll go, the jacket will not match the shirt, then I'll not get my size. Then I'll reschedule the interview. Then one day I went and I got a black jacket, black skirt, put my red inner, and I marched to Wall Street. The lady was so upset. She said, why would you reschedule multiple times? Do you not know this is Wall Street? I started crying. I said, you don't know how much this means to me. I started telling her about how I didn't get my clothes and this and that. She said, oh my God, whether you get this job or not, this is a story I think my girlfriend who works at Ebony would love to hear. So I'm going to give you her details. And so she told her Ebony friend at Ebony of this lady who's come all the way from Africa and is now in a shelter, but still trying to get a job on Wall Street. So in the train, I was just praying to God that I had answered the interview questions. She loved what I had to do. I told her I'm the hardest working person you're ever going to find in any room. I'm a bright light. Don't let these tears make you feel sorry for me, because I'm definitely going to get on my feet. And when I do, I won't let you down. I'll make you always be glad that you hired me for this position, because I have brain trust. And then with not just intellect, but intellect that matches a very strong passion and resilience that I don't know where it comes from. I think from God alone, where I don't give up. I never say no. I don't take no for an answer. No means not yet for me. No means so I'm thinking about it. No means I can ask again. And I just go and never stop. So please give me this opportunity. I said everything I could say. And I think I had done a good job to the best of my capacity, my research, and all that I know I had said there. So in the dormitory, the phone rang again in a few days. And she said, Ms. Brookshire, welcome to Wall Street. And that's how I got the job. The position they hired me for was almost 1.5 times higher than what I was earning at GE. I was already a 6-figure earner at 28. They paid me so much
Wow.
more, so I think about $147,000. And it was the year of the downturn, financial downturn of 2008. So in that year, we were laid off just because JP Morgan Chase bought out Bear Stearns. So I had
Right.
to now find another job, and that's how I ended up in Uganda, because that part of the story is the fun part. I went on a website, findajobinafrica.com. When I went there, I saw, they said a marketing director, Uganda Telecom. I applied. I said, I'm done with America. Let me go explore something. And truly, without even seeing me in person, just reading about me online, my ebony details, accolades and all, and just my interview skills and all, they gave me a first-class ticket. I became an American citizen, got my US passport, boarded the British Airways flight to Uganda, and my chauffeur and my Pajero, whatever it's called, Land Cruiser, was at the airport with a big sign, "Welcome to Entebbe, ML Brookshire," and then they took me to my home. I was in a hotel till they found a home for me, beautiful house, furnished, everything was paid for. And then even the children's tuition and all. So the kids and I loved it there. It was a 1-year expatriate contract. And from there, Adenuga had heard about my strides, and then also, it was easy to get from telecommunications in Uganda Telecom for Globacom. So I ended up at Glow Mobile Ghana Limited in Ghana. He recruited me. I interviewed with Adenuga of Nigeria, and then I got the job to work at Glow Mobile Ghana Limited. But still, what had happened was, even with all this going on, I hadn't found the cocktail of choice that would make me stable. So the medications of Ghana have very high and strong side effects. Unfortunately, I have to say, we don't have maybe the best ones from the UK or the US. So some make people drool. Some make people sound like they say bobos, where you say, "Hello, my name is ML." And maybe that's not who you were. So when you start to change, you don't want to find it, you don't find it attractive enough to continue, so you stop. And when the medications are making you have all these side effects that you can't even begin, some nightmare syndrome, things that you have never experienced before, some don't take it out of just being like they're not irresponsible. They're actually trying to hold on to the identity of who they are strongly and fight to not change. That's why they decide not to take the medications, because some men say it affects erectile dysfunction happens. Some say all kinds of things happen to them emotion-wise, So for me too, they would put the medicine in the food if they could, because I would try not to take it. And every time I wouldn't, it would be a crash. So every time for 9 years straight, around the time of when my father passed away, I'd be in a hospital somewhere. I was in Northridge Hospital, private care, because my mother didn't want me to go to Accra Psychiatric Hospital or Pantine. So my favorite doctor in the world is Dr. Ohene of Accra Psychiatric Hospital, because he was having served his office hours at Northridge, and he would be the one to care for me. And even that, because I'm bipolar 2, I'm more manic and hyper and bubbly than the people who are depressed, who are suicidal or down and out. So I was just having fun there, eating, but then what happens is you have an issue with filters. So what people would ordinarily see and figure out easily, I might miss. So I would not stop. I'd go all the way. I'd be erratic. I'd be causing trouble, disturbing, not following the rules and regulations. So not that you are mad per se or you are crazy, but you're not functioning at your peak. You're not functioning at a level where you are aware of your senses and your surroundings and how to comport yourself in a given moment. So people use the word bipolar for abodam, that people are mad. No, that would be schizophrenia, which is a mental disorder. The bipolar disorder is a mood one, where your mood is affected. If you make me happy, I achieve all my goals. If you make me sad, I cower and I stay in my bed. And I hardly get sad, and I'm always on the more happy-go-lucky, bubbly side. So for me, I've always said, my mother said, the bipolar is her superpower. And I think it's true, because the things that I can do, Doc, you yourself always know, and you can see that it's not so easy for most people. And I think it comes with a shield, an armor of sorts, where you become invincible. And I don't have shame or shyness or sadness of losing it all. I've lost a car, house, and assets in all ways, shape, or form. So I don't have that fear of loss or rejection. I've been rejected, denied, forsaken, abandoned, and still I was holding intact, because I believe that this too will pass, and it wouldn't be a permanent thing notch on my belt. No. So even in Houston here, people who don't know me well, they think, oh, she likes attention, all about promotions and this and that. Yeah, if you're a marketer by trade, your livelihood depends on promos and adverts and speaking about your dream. And your dream is your dream. So who should have take care of the dream more than you, the person who dreamt it? Like, who
That's
must be focusing on that dream beyond the person who dreamt it? I just don't understand how you can have an idea or want to be in business and think that you can do it behind the scenes or quietly, you know? So that's the story of where I've come from. And today, yes, I was in Ebony magazine on page 108 when Obama was on the cover. I was on page 108, top, marketing consultant from Ghana. I had my kente cloth on the chair. I was positioned. The cameraman came, took my pictures. My mother, I told Gifty Auntie on her interview, I said, my mother took the magazine to all her engagements and funerals. People used to ask her big questions. Then she say, Razi, I'm not even eating. I have to go home. She will stop eating the food right there, run away, because my mom, she hates drama and to confront her with things. So she said, look at my daughter. The mom's well, but look at her. So she'll show everybody. My daughter is doing well. And so the narrative has changed, Doc. I don't get sick anymore. I have not broken down for years on end. I think it's close to getting to 10 years. I just celebrated 8 years recently. 10 years of not going to the hospital. But yet it was every year. And the reason why I would go to the hospital around the months of summertime, June, is because when I was at Wesley Girls High School, before I went to Achimota for sixth form, my dad passed away on Tuesday, 30th June 1992. So on the day of his passing and what announcement and all going out, I was in the dormitory walking towards the dining hall, and this girl, a girl called Phyllis, said, don't go to where the sixth formers newspapers are. Don't go, okay? I said, why? I'm going to the dining hall. She said, no, when you go to the dining hall, don't go to the notice board where they do the GP and they have all the notices and all for the sixth formers. I started running to the notice board. What is there? I got there, big on Daily Graphic, front page, Le Mieza is dead. Wow. My father had died and I didn't even know. Nobody had informed me in school. So right then and there, I passed out. And that trauma of finding out that he died on that day when I passed out, I think affected me psychologically, because every time around his anniversary of when he died, I'd be sick and I'd be in the hospital. My mother would fly from Ghana or Liberia, wherever she is, because you'd have to be released to family. And I wouldn't know any family members here to be released to. So she would have to fly and come and claim me as her daughter, because they normally don't like to release people who go to psychiatric hospitals or have depression and all to friends and loved ones, because the friends can abandon you or decide not to care for you or even treat you nicely. So they hope to find your real sibling or husband or mother or someone who is family to you to come get you. And so my mother would always be the one. And so all those days are over of coming every summertime to visit me in a hospital or take me home. And I've not broken down. I don't even suffer depression. I don't even get, I'm on 2 medications, Lamictal and Latuda. They are my the cocktail of choice is what I call it. Latuda and Lamictal, one is an antidepressant and one is a mood stabilizer. So I'm always at equilibrium, or actually I shouldn't say equilibrium, I would say hypomania, because I'm always on a high anyway. So that's my natural state of being more bubblier and vibrant and passionate than the average person. So if I'm sad and maybe somebody passes away, and I have to go and take my son to school for maybe football practice, the medication will get me out of bed, equilibrium enough to be able to go and perform the task and the role that a regular person wouldn't be able to do just by having that bad news of a death in the family. If I also want $1 million and I wanted to go to gamble or go and blow the money or whatever, the medication would let me think with enough filters and understanding to know that I shouldn't go overboard and act erratically or not. So for me, medication treatment is what I drum into the minds of my members at my facility, that if you were having high blood pressure, you take amlodipine. If you had diabetes, you take your insulin and your metformin. Same with cholesterol, you take Lipitor. So what's wrong if you have to take a medication for mental health? Because doc, the truth about the matter is you can live a whole life and not be diagnosed with breast cancer. You can live your whole life and not be diagnosed with heart disease or hypertension. But nobody can tell me that they've lived their life and never been depressed or fell down and not wanted to get up and take a shower and go to work. It is a prevailing condition that all will pass through. Whether you like it or whether you like it or not, whether you look down on people who are depressed or look down on people who you think, well, but them what Ghana or whatever you think, you will go through some level of psychosis and stress and trauma based on what life brings your way. You may be linked, yours might be a trigger of employment and unemployment. Those could be the trigger of a loss of a spouse or a child or whatever the case is. So you would definitely face it. That is why it should have been the condition that should have been more embraced, more accepted and tolerated, because It is something that we will all go through. And if not yourself, your children or your grandchildren may experience, from autism to all the spectrums to all kinds of things that can happen when it comes to the mind, as we all talk in the mind room. So I gave you the long version today because I wanted you to hear it out, the full story, so that when this is recorded and people hear, they'll be like, oh, we've heard about she was homeless, but she was just here a little bit. Today you've gotten the full story on the Mind Room podcast with Dr. Orgen. And this is I'm very, very particular about mental health, and I take it very seriously. And whenever I'm down, even a little bit down, and I wake up and I hear the members say, Mommy, how are you, Mommy? I get so invigorated. I look in the mirror and I say, I'm so valued. I'm so needed. I'm so important. Someone's calling me Mommy all the way in a different continent. Why must I lie in this bed and not feel like getting up? Let me wake up, rise up, and face my day. Somebody needs me. And as long as they need me, I have a goal, I have a purpose. If not purpose for myself and my children, for strangers who rely on the essence of how I run my day, what I choose to do, all impacts lives because of me. So I have things to do, battles to conquer, wars to try to use my shield to face. And that's how I keep going every single day. That's my long story for you.
Thank you so very much. I hope viewers around the world are really enjoying every bit of what you just shared. And that draws my question to the other side of you, which most people don't know. I know you're a person of faith. And being a person of faith, how should we understand relationship between prayer, professional help, and emotional healing? In other words, practical healing.
Okay, so this is one of the important questions that I'm being asked, because there's a dichotomy, I can say. This whole thing of superstition being seen as the cause of mental health versus it being a mental disorder or a mood disorder, it comes to bear. People believe that you can read the Bible and think too much about what God's presence is in your life and then go crazy. And there's a question that is very close to my heart because I've lived it myself. When I went through the breakdown myself and my family took me to the different prayer camps, it's like a person who's dying of cancer has to still go through chemotherapy. Right. And the same Bible would say that, the doctor's report is the Lord's report. So you wonder and begin to ask yourself questions when it comes to illness and disease, that why can't God take it away from me? The same cup, then you remember that Jesus himself asked for God to take, if God could take that cup away from him. So I truly believe that from the way my life has unraveled before my eyes, it is my condition and what I've gone through that makes me the person that I am today. And as I look back today, I've come to also believe that God works through many channels. He works through prayer, works through family, works through community, also works through trained professionals that must be trusted, that must be believed in to support you and also help with through psychiatrists and therapists and counselors. I often ask people, if you broke your leg, would you pray? Doc, think about it. Would you pray? Would you stop or would you go to the hospital? And of course you would, because we don't see those two things as competing with each other. We see them working together. But as soon as it comes to mental, where the illness is not visible, Doc, you don't see the broken leg in the mind, that the mind is broken. So it gets a different kind of reception from people than if you see a person who is handicapped with one leg, you let him sit in your chair, get up, rise up for him to sit down. But the person with a broken mind gets to go through a whole day without nobody attracting any attention to themselves or being identified as needing help or support. And it can be very lonely. My mother always says, I'm a bad one. Or the Facebook would do. Groupie or diagnose one what she said. They hide under a rock. Many of people that I know who are either diagnosed with just simple depression have hidden, Doc, whether they didn't marry again, didn't do this or didn't do that. They don't even want to be seen or discovered because they have to address something they're not willing to discuss in public. So I publicize what I go through and I publicize what I do, not because I'm just so bold and yes, of course, that's also, but I want the world to understand that it is something that we must embrace. And so to answer your question and looking back, I'll just say that I don't regret praying. I still pray every day. But with all prayers, even those who pray for the prayer of the womb, children and all, God doesn't answer the prayers in the way that we want. So I just do if thy will be done. Whatever God feels best should happen. And it takes the burden off of me to have serious prayer requests or finding people to pray for me. I used to always look for pastors, pray for my mother, would call. Can these people pray for my daughter? Put your hand on her, do this. We believe that all these antics, maybe it acts on God. She'll say, yes, Hezekiah, you can pray, change my shebre, and this, all these things come as variations, and it's a personal choice for each person. One of the biggest lessons I would say I've learned is that asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength to identify that you actually need help. Some don't know they do. And I always talk about the undiagnosed folks out there who disturb and don't know that they are mentally challenged or have issues. Please go and find your medication, okay? Because we are tired. We, the group of people who are taking medication, we are tired of you guys. We want you to get help so that there can be an even playing field on this planet. Because those who are not taking, who are just walking around disturbing in Ghana and Africa and stigmatically judging and abandoning and forsaking the ones who are trying to get help. Doc, don't you think they also need their own doses at this stage?
Thank you so very much. I know that when it comes to area of medication and treatment, we all have different views about that. But I really like the way you connected the dot here. I would want to ask just two more questions and we'll wrap up our conversation. So one word that describes emotional restoration to you will be what? And use yourself as an example because you went through emotional stress, you went through depression, you went through bipolar, and here you are. So one word that makes you resilient to become someone who has been restored is what?
And then your own word. The ultimate word is wholeness.
Wholeness.
Wholeness. My son said something interesting. He said, Mommy, you've overcome the mental, overcome the physical. I lost 100 pounds. You've overcome in all areas and you're whole, you see. So no one can take away from me whatever it is that they want to take away from me. Just as you go through your day, so too must I go through mine. We bleed in different ways, but the blood is all the same color, right? So because emotional restoration is not merely feeling better, but is becoming whole again, reconnecting your mind, your body, your spirit, your identity, and your hope after life has pulled them apart is why the word is wholeness.
Thank you so very much. So, as we come to the end of our show, I'll give you an opportunity that if you leave our audience with one message about hope, healing, and emotional restoration, what would you tell our audience around the world?
The first thing I want to say is something that I heard before I even answer your question. The person said, to fall asleep, you have to begin to pretend to be sleeping. Fall asleep. So you have to lie down, actually close your eyes to fall asleep. So too is it in life. You have to go in the motions and the belief of hope pushing you through. Like when they say fake it till you make it, it's not really fake it. They said there's a new one, faith it till you make it. Faith it till you make it. You're practicing the norm of belief, the norm of the hope, that it is the most strongest indicator of resilience is holding on to hope at all costs. So to everyone listening around the world, I would say to you, and I want you to know that your current chapter is not your final chapter. What if your book is in, you know how some books we have episodes, volumes actually, volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. You have no idea if you are a Harry Potter in the making book or you're just a Mills and Boone, you see? So because you don't know, but the author is God and he holds the pen. And in this life that we live, if anyone else will hold the pen in this life form, it will be you. No one can write that story better than you. So you have to believe that chapter by chapter, when you read chapter 1, it doesn't have a bearing on chapter 2 because it's in the future. So all you can do is just remember what you read before, but it doesn't change what is already in the book. And that book is the book of life, the book that God himself is reading for us. So he holds it. I call him the master architect. He holds the pillars to the structures of our minds and our livelihoods. and it's all within his hands. So why would you worry about something you cannot change? And then 80%, they said, I read somewhere, the things we worry about don't even come to pass. So worry in itself is the most useless venture of all time. So spend any 5 minutes of your time worrying, because sometimes you have something very bad happen to you. It used to happen to me when I was a child. If I cry and maybe my mother beats me up or beats me and I'm crying, the next day becomes the best day ever. Sometimes God will just make it a very spectacular occasion. After my sadness, there'll be extreme happiness. After extreme happiness, so when I get happy, then I'm scared because I'm too happy. So, hey, what's the bad news? Who's dying tomorrow? Who is going to hospital? But all I'm just saying, I want you to laugh. But the truth of the matter is, in all essence, I'm living proof, truly, that brokenness doesn't have to be the end of your story. Brokenness. And they say all crayons can color, even the broken ones do. We all color. I'm vibrant. Somebody is maybe more introverted. I'm the extrovert, the person the introvert. But there is space on this planet for all of us, 7-8 billion of us. You just have to do it your way. As Frank Sinatra said, I did it my way. Don't try to change to become more quieter. I tried those ones sometimes when I was in my 30s and 40s. I said, let me change my identity. I'm going to change. I'm going to become a little Wesley girls, really, really Wesley girls, the real type, not the Achimota influence type that I became since former. But I would try, and then it wasn't me. I couldn't even keep the habits up long enough for it to become who I was. So when I decided to let the reins go and be myself, changed my name from Mona Lisa to just my moniker ML, which is Mona Lisa. The name Mona Lisa my father gave me because he loved art so much that he named me after the painting. I'm just the moniker because it doesn't identify gender, doesn't tell you culture, doesn't tell you race, doesn't tell you who I am. When they see my name on resumes, ML Brookshire, I walk into interviews and they think I'm a white, blue-eyed, blonde male coming into the interview. You need to discover that not only am I Black, I'm female and I'm from Africa. So ML is a protective name and a moniker for me, and it protects me from those who do not understand who I am, don't understand the heart of gold that I have. They judge me on the outside of my showy, the one I got from my dad, the bravado and the braggadocious behavior and the AI and the images and the pictures and the videos that I love to entertain myself with. They don't know who I am. So the ML is what I hold on to because it's more of an identity understanding of myself and what makes me who I am. So I would say, hold on to hope. That's all you have. And remember this, what happened to you is part of your story, and it's not your identity. It's not life defining. Neither is it permanent. It's a phase you may have to go through, temporal in nature. So never lose hope. As long as there is breath in your body, there's still purpose for your life. There's always the possibility of a new beginning, and your greatest setback may one day become the platform from which you will bring feeling and healing and emotional understanding to someone else. So there's a purpose for everything. As Rick Warren said in The Purpose-Driven Life, if you read that book, you'll find out that there is a purpose for every single person. So don't stay in your lane. Don't look left and right. Doc, I'll say this last thing. When the horses are racing, they used to put blinders on them in the olden days because they didn't want the blinders to fall or for them to look on the left and right because they would stumble. If you really are singular, internal focused and tunnel visioned, looking in your lane and focusing, you won't even get a chance to notice left and right, to even be jealous, envious, or worried about what anybody else is doing because there's so much to focus on about our own identities. Yeah. So be the best you, as Oscar Wilde said, be the best you because everyone else is taken. It's not as if there are other bodies there you can go and rent or become another person for a 5-day course. No, be the best you. Everyone is taken. They have their own assignments. So get your own assignment, understand yourself, spend time quietly with yourself when you can and get to know who you are, what makes you tick. As an individual by yourself, what's fun about you? What's sad about you? What's quiet? What are your boundaries? What is like, fall in love with your own self and who you are. And I'm telling you, you will thank me later for it all. And those are my final words.
Thank you so very much, folks. Every good thing must come to an end. We have really enjoyed ML Brookshire. It's been amazing having you on this show. And folks, as you usually know, the Mind Room is a reflective of what goes through your mind. I know that for most of us, we struggle with many things that we are not able to share with the world. But you will be the next we'll be inviting you to come to the mind room to tell your own story. Until next time we come your way, like this show, share with your friends, subscribe, and I tell you, the world will be a better place. Bye for now.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you.